Chapter 33, Avatar. The people who live on that planet have bodies about twice the size of ours. We call them Nephalama, while Earthlings call them giants. In the past, the giant race used to live with you. But due to significant physical differences, large size, large ears coupled with the Earth's gravitational conditions, which were not conducive to their race, they felt heavier than normal. They would tire easily when doing anything, and their movements were slower than when they were on their own planet. This caused their genetics to gradually deteriorate within a short time. Eventually, the Galactic Federation decided to have them return to their original home. Only a few remained, specifically those who were dwarfed and crossbred, resulting in a size closer to humans. Lord Foch replied. I see. And what about the surrounding angels? Who do they represent? When I come, I don't come alone. I come with many high-dimensional beings, and among those many beings, there are only 24 beings who have a special bond with me. In fact, people in the past knew about these things well. They recorded the stories through beliefs and myths. And you are one of those 24, he said, adding to my curiosity. I'm one of them and have a special bond with you. What does that mean? I asked. You call this kind of close bond? Avatar, the meaning you understand is that you are a division of my being, which is true because I am the initial energy form of you and everyone else on Earth. But the true meaning is that you and your 23 other friends were entrusted by me to perform certain missions on my behalf. Some even volunteered to be born as humans, with my support behind them, just as I am doing with you now. You are one of those who has a bond with me and volunteered to perform a certain duty on my behalf. That is why I have to guide you to understand things, to remind you of your memory before you start your work. And in Legends, your story is recorded as the last avatar of the old Great Era, or my 10th. Before entering the new Great Era, the other 14 have not yet reached their time. So, the word avatar has this meaning, he replied. The story is so complex and intricate, I commented. Just listen casually for information. One day, when you reach a state of understanding, you will remember that you already knew this from my telling, he said. But now that you've told me, I've become very curious, I replied. Let's just say that the person who is known as my avatar and has the strongest connection with you is the one you call the Buddha. Oh, the story of the Buddha makes me even more interested and eager to know. Please tell me more, I said excitedly. We can travel back in time to see the detailed specifics with our own eyes. But I will tell you about your birth process first. To provide some background information, he said, okay. Among the 24 people who will perform duties on my behalf, only 5 volunteered to be born as humans, while the other 19 will come in a way that is like disguising themselves as humans to perform certain missions. Therefore, their consciousness and spirit will still feel like it is them, which is different from the 5 who volunteered to be born as humans because they will forget everything, just like all humans do. But to be born in this way, there must be a complex process, which is a combination of biological and spiritual technology. I won't go into the details of the method here because there are many details. At that time, you came in the role of world guardians, not volunteering to be born from the origin, but the 5 of you desired to perform missions on my behalf. So, I used the method of transplanting the primordial elements of your 5 souls to conceive in the first lifetime as a human with a basic animal nature, so that in the next lifetime, you could be born as humans in a complete state of forgetfulness. For the first person, I used the primordial element of a bird, which is a chicken, with the primordial element of air. For the second person, I used the primordial element of a reptile larger than ordinary snakes, which is a large, venomous reptile, with the primordial element of fire. For the third person, I used the primordial element of an amphibian, which is a turtle, with the primordial element of water. For the fourth person, I transplanted the primordial element of a plant-eating mammal, which is a cow, with the primordial element of earth. And finally, for the fifth person, I used the primordial element of a carnivorous mammal, which is a lion, with the primordial element of metal. And this is the origin of why you have your own memory crystal pillars appearing on Earth. And you have the legitimate right to drive the world, Lord Foch explained. That's very amazing, I said, expressing my surprise. That's enough for now. You can go see the details yourself, he said. After hearing the shout from outside the sanctuary that the king had arrived, I soon saw several ministers walking into the sanctuary with royal attendants carrying a small, entirely gilded wooden throne. Then, one of the ministers walked directly to me. Lord Krazen, please sit here. His Majesty will sit and observe the Buddha image from this point, the minister said, pointing to the side of the throne. Yes, sir, I heard my voice reply, and I knew that my name at this time was Krazen, while everyone in the sanctuary was silent. No one doing anything, no one speaking. Everyone sat with their legs folded and their heads bowed, with both hands clasped on their laps. Someday Pra Inthracha has arrived. One of the ministers standing at the door shouted. I glanced at the doorway and saw dozens of strong men lowering a palanquin to the ground, and an elderly man around 80 years old slowly walking down, supported by several royal concubines, into the sanctuary. Then he walked directly to the prepared throne, which was right next to me. As he walked in, everyone prostrating on the floor voiced together, "Long live His Majesty." Truly impressive, much more beautiful than I imagined, the king's voice said before he collapsed to the ground and bowed to the Buddha image 3 times. This caused everyone in the room to turn towards the Buddha image and bow 3 times as well. Truly a beautiful and powerful Buddha sculpture. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to admire His Majesty's grace through your skill. Krazen, the king, turned to speak to me while still sitting on the floor. I receive with utmost respect, Your Majesty, Krazen replied. Then I saw several royal concubines slowly crawling in to help the king rise and sit on the prepared throne. No need. I dare not sit there in the presence of His Majesty, he said to the concubines who were about to help him up. This may be the only opportunity in my twilight years to do this as an offering to the Buddha. Throughout my life, I have never thought of His Majesty before, until you told me that there is another Pra, 3, Arya, Mithya, who will be born as the Buddha in the future. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do this, even if it's just admiring His Majesty's grace through this replica. I feel so overjoyed that I can barely hold back these tears of joy. He turned to speak to me with tears welling up in his eyes. I receive with utmost respect, Your Majesty, Krazen's voice replied. What I have done this time, I hope it will serve as a reminder for future generations to remember His Majesty. May this Buddhist witness endure until the day His Majesty will be born as the Buddha in the future. Amen, he said with a trembling voice, raising his hands in a prayerful gesture. Amen, amen, amen. As soon as Pra Inthracha finished speaking, everyone in the sanctuary said amen in unison.